What's your origin story? I've talked to you a lot, Jason, and I know that you are a hustling man.
I am. So yeah, Jason, DeckEdge. My origin story was, I honestly can't remember what thing I saw. If you ask any of my friends, I read the internet,
Hmm.
and um, then I had saw Rudy's video right before kind of the game really sort of came out. I mean, it was out, but he had
Hmm.
mentioned it, and I remember his one where he was comparing it to Argent Saga. And he was kind of on the fence which one was going to go where, and that kind of kicked my memory, and I was like, that's right, that game, it looks so cool. Because I remember watching like the play, the like how to play, learn how to play, like from Flesh and Blood's actual, I think it was their actual YouTube channel.
Yep.
And
It was one of
so
the
I called
first
around.
things they released, I think, right?
Yeah, and I called around, and just couldn't find it. Nowhere had it. No idea what I was talking about. They didn't even know how to get it. So let a couple days go by, called him back. I'm like, hey, any chance? Nope. I couldn't find anybody that carried it online. I didn't even know there was a store locator. Maybe that wasn't even a thing. Back then. I say back then. I mean, I'm just talking July of last year.
Back in the good old days, 6 months ago. Yeah,
It literally feels like eons.
the
Oh
days of
man.
yore.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of frustrating, and there was something about the mechanics and that just really hooked me, and I'm like, this is a thing. This will be a thing.
Mm.
And so I just said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna throw my ring in the hat. I have a ton of downtime, COVID, so I just you know figured out how to register, incorporate as a business, and I got my certificate. I hounded, I think her name was Susan, every day. I'd email her or call her and be like, is it in the mail yet? Is it in the mail yet? Is it in the mail yet?
For
I was
your
so
business
amped.
license, or
Yeah,
wow.
and I finally got it. So then I got all the paperwork going, with the distributors, and got my first order in, and then it was just buckle up ever since then.
So, all
Oh.
in all, right? If I understand your whole business model, you do a business model where you are a store that sells in person, but also online, mostly with the Patreon tiers, and people sign up with you, and they're able to get really good discounts on product, mainly booster boxes, sealed booster boxes, because essentially. And this is the fascinating thing I find about stores like you, man, is that you don't have all these huge expenses in the background, right? Like, you are just bare bones. You're a guy and then a business, and you're keeping it really lean, right? Am I getting the big picture there?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? Like, this is, it was kind of my business model, right? Like, I'm going into this like, never done this before.
Hmm.
What the heck am I doing? How can I make this work? And so it's like, well, what's one of the you know business models you've seen in the past 10 years, right? It's subscription services,
Yep.
whether it be, you know, geez, I can't even think of any. I don't
Amazon
want to
or
say, I don't want to say
Netflix.
like, yeah, or Netflix. There's that customer service one that a lot of businesses use,
Uh,
that kind of integrates everything. I
yeah,
want to say,
wholesale
yeah,
grocery
I mean,
stores. Yeah.
and the whole stick behind that is you can sort of rely on that reoccurring revenue
Hmm.
to be able to float everything else. And I was like, well, I'm on my own. How can I make this work? And I'm like, well, you know, first I'm a collector, right?
Hmm.
Now I have a business, so I'm a collector, a business. How do I do this? And for me, it's all about trying to. I was like, what can I make a lasting impression on people? And I was like, let's make cardboard collecting affordable. A lot of it's
Yep.
not. It's expensive. It's not cheap.
Oh, it's really
You figure.
expensive.
I mean, let's just talk fab for a moment, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have Arcane Rising. I want a complete set. I have to put that in a binder. I want to protect my investment. I need 500 card sleeves. Oh, but wait a minute. I have cold foils, or I have regular foils that will curl. So now I want to put it in a perfect sleeve and then put it in a sleeve and then I'm going to stick it in my binder. Well,
Yeah.
like one set, I'm like, you're talking $80 to $100 just to, you know, put your set in a nice binder and kind of go from there. So it adds up. So I was like, okay, so you know,
When you do a
I
lot
know
of
my
that with your business, right? With the binders and also the card sleeves, which I think is really smart because a lot of stores have them in their the local game stores and stuff, but the markup on them is very high because
it is, yeah,
it takes so much time and effort to get those little packages into the game store that
yep,
all that needs to be accounted for in some way, and they have to put a huge markup. Whereas you order them in like big bulks, and when you're fulfilling booster box orders, you just say, "Hey, I'll ship them to you at cost." Some of the times, and they said,
yeah,
"Yeah, sure." And then you just put them in
yep,
there for cost, and you get them out. And it's more about you're getting more satisfaction to the customer in a way, but also you are, fulfilling more sales volume, which I think is really brilliant, man. And that needs to be like, regardless of how passionate I think you are, and I think you're really passionate about the game. I mean, you've been in it from the pretty beginning, right? But not only that, but you're able to provide a huge like savings on the customer, no matter how they feel about you. Like there's a lot of savings in just having one guy be the distributor, or not the distributor. You're like the store, but you have a very lean business model, which the savings go onto the customer. And yeah, I don't know.
exactly. I got to keep my overhead low, right? And so,
Exactly.
when I was thinking about that, I was like, I mean, the last time I like hardcore collected something was forever ago. So I'm very casual. Like I play Netrunner, I play Legend of the Five Rings. Those are LLCs, and they're pretty inexpensive. So I'm not horribly worried about it because I treat it more like a board game as opposed to an investment slash more of a collectible side, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
have aspects of that, but at a higher level. So, you know, I watch a lot of Magic YouTubers, things like that, and I was like, all right, how do I keep this lean? I'm gonna carry or attempt to carry like the top two best items in a category, right? So I only do katana sleeves, I only do dragon shield sleeves,
Hmm.
and I just do matte black. You want a different color? I'm not your guy, right? You want matte black? You don't mind with matte black? Bag it up. I'll ship it to you, no problem. Buy a case for me, buy a box for me. I'll throw it in. It's incremental in shipping costs once you throw a booster box in something, right?
Yeah.
Like if I want to throw in a pack of sleeves, it has zero effect on the shipping cost.
Hmm.
So I'm just passing it on to you. I don't need the extra amount, right? Like I've crunched the numbers and it works for me based on my scenario,
Mm.
and based what my overhead costs are. So, you know, I, I had to be very quick, but plan it very specifically so I could stick to my motto at keeping it affordable.
Yeah, and
It's
I
not
think
cheap; it's
you really
affordable.
do that. Yeah, it's very affordable. And another thing I think that you do a lot of is convenience. I mean, when somebody's on their screen and they can see, okay, I'm in his Patreon, and they go to your site and they say, oh, these products are available. I'll have those, and they ship right to you for free. Or I think you have free shipping on most of your orders, right? I forget how that works.
I, I'm not
No,
gonna lie; I've messed up a few times. I mean, this is all new to me, so
no, you're good.
you know,
It
I've
varies.
definitely had some learnings. I had to switch different website providers, so there was some learnings there, some pitfalls. I've messed up stuff on the way. I try to make it right. Um, there's definitely things I could do better, but it's all a process. So I'm getting there. So I like to be approachable. So if I am falling short somewhere, call me out on it. I have no problem owning it, and let's work together and make it better. In fact, I got a message today. I totally forgot to ship somebody's order. I thought I had everything shipped, but hopefully I can work with that person and write it. Um, it happens.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's
so
cool that you're open to that, and you're just
yeah,
like a real salt to the earth guy like me, man. It's the same with me, right? I've been doing this for a long time. There's a lot of people say, "Hey, Bronson, I think that moving day looks nice, but can we please get an update of this background?" I'm like, okay, okay,
I,
and I
I,
like,
I like Moving Day personally.
yeah,
I'm
I
not gonna
know,
lie.
I like
I
my
love this.
bins, but
I love your banner though. Like I'm
thank you.
jealous of that.
Oh, you get
Um,
get them printed, man. The marketing assets, it's not too bad.
Yeah, yeah. They said that you could get it printed. One of my patrons actually knows a guy that runs a print shop, so he's trying to get me a quote. Because he wants one too. So hopefully we can get that printed so I can get one. And then I'm gonna put a big seatbelt buckle across it because that's what Fab has been. Just buckle up, buckle up, and join the ride.
That sounds like a Patreon package, like the buckle up and join the ride
I
package. Or
know.
it comes with a belt buckle. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of packages, that's one thing I'm trying to do more of too. Is offer sort of these bundle deals to kind of go along with that incremental cost savings. So hopefully I'll have some more of those coming out too. And it's not just for patrons, like those bundles will be available to anybody on my website too. I try to, you don't have to be a patron to get good pricing, right?
Hmm.
Like pricing is crazy in the market right now. So if I have extra boxes and I can sling them to some people, if I see somebody post something on Facebook or something, I try to reach out and just get them something, right? Because we're trying to get these in as many hands as possible. I mean, I've been not just my own state, but I've shipped to almost every state in the U.S.
Wow.
I shipped to 2 locations in Canada. I got a good story about a guy in the UK when I first started.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then I shipped to I can't remember. It was either Australia or New Zealand. I shipped a box there.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, let's go to the UK guy.
Yeah.
This was like July, right? Like we're talking, I'm bootstrapping,
Hmm.
so I'm trying to like buy cases and then try to get sales of cases before I buy the cases, so I don't have to float as much cash. It's a game.
Yep.
Um, and so I was really trying to help this guy in the UK. He really wanted to play. And I do some eBay sales, and I was like, oh, well, eBay has this whole international shipping program where I just ship it to Kentucky, and then it kind of forwards it to him. He
Hmm.
still has to pay shipping, but you can leverage eBay shipping rates, so it's not horrible. And it was for a case of Welcome to Wraith Alpha.
Wow.
And we went back and forth for maybe a couple weeks. I'm trying to get quotes from other shipping companies to try to give him the best deal to make it work for both of us. And he ended up not pulling the trigger. I just
Oh.
I just think to myself, oh man, I bet he wish he did that.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, because in the next
Yeah,
couple months after July, it spiked. That's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
and how
I
has
mean,
it been? I mean, starting from the beginning, just trying to get this stuff out, and it must have been more of a hard sell, right? You're saying, "Hey, I'm here, I'm trying to sell this." But now it's probably more of people are just hitting your email up. Like, has your email just blown up by the amount of requests?
it's been crazy. Yeah. Like when they did the announcement of Monarch,
Mhm.
which awesome. So pumped about that. I can't even begin to. I think I was the only one that had on their website about the pitch thing, right? Somebody translated the text and I put it on. I got so many emails just about what do you know? What is it going on with this pitch thing?
Well, because
Where
somebody
did you?
put it on the Reddit. Did you see that? They said, "Hey, this store had this text on their
Oh
site," and
no,
then,
no.
oh, you
Maybe I
didn't
did.
see that, man. Oh, it was on the Reddit, and someone said, "Hey, this store said this about the pitch," and then there's so many people commenting and all this
Oh no,
stuff,
you're
and
right.
and
I
they
I
they
I,
got
res-
that from you,
I
man. You're
Yeah,
the
no, I responded to that, but I was like super vague.
mm,
I was like something to the effect of you know, if
yeah.
something like I don't know. I mean, I figured everybody knew, but I guess not. But no, I'm excited about the different mechanics that will play into that, which
Well,
is which is cool.
and that was
Wait,
on
what
the
were we
site
originally talking about?
somehow. Oh, my bad.
I totally side skirted this.
Oh,
I
Monarch.
said
You said
Monarch,
something
and
about Monarch and it
oh,
being amazing.
the emails
Oh
bombardment.
yeah,
Yeah. So
that.
when they released, yeah, loop back. When they released that thing, I got so many emails about it. Like, okay, what's the price? When do you know you're getting it? How much you getting? Are you going to fill this order? If I jump in line with this other person, if I sent you an email 4 months ago before you even started taking orders, does that put me in XYZ position? I'm just like, whoa, people. I need to set like an auto reply. I'm on
Yeah.
vacation. When I come back from vacation, I'm deleting everything. So if it's important, email me back when I come back from vacation.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
was nuts.
crazy. Well, and that was
I
just
try
the
to
other
respond.
day, right? And once they had the big
Yeah,
Monarch billboard, everyone was like, "Okay, am I get my thing?"
yeah. I pulled Monarch off from my website. Like I
Oh
was getting
wow.
so many hits. Yeah, I took it down this morning. Actually, it was this morning. I took it down. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I saw
Like,
even
my
before then, there was these couple posts on Reddit where they said, "Hey, everyone, my local game store is doing pre-orders for Monarch," and then 30 minutes later, it's like, "Okay, they're no longer taking pre-orders. Please stop harassing them."
yeah, they
It's
just got 500 phone calls.
yeah, because everybody's waiting for that to just
Yeah.
pounce, and
Yep.
yeah, and even now after that's funny that once they released that art, that everyone just started bombarding you and like, hey, I guess they're doing other things in life, and then they see
Yeah.
that and they're trying to head you up.
I mean, I think between like Facebook, email, Patreon, my fax machine and pager, um, I mean, blowing up, I probably got like you know, 25 emails and maybe 30 or 40 across all the other platforms.
Oh wow,
Um, so I mean, it was intense. I responded to everybody best I could, but to be honest, I probably won't even put Monarch back up again.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, because
I've
you already have a lot of
there's
orders now. I mean, and like, how are you going into it, man? I mean, I don't think a lot of people who are customers like myself. I don't run a store, but I see the big picture and I realize that it looks like a bloodbath or a cluster of just an annihilation of people just wanting. The demand is way like up here and the supply is
massive.
here,
Yeah.
and we don't know, and you as a store, and a lot of people might not know this, it's not like you know how much you're going to get. It's kind of like that's what my interpretation is, but
No,
how are
I
you
have
feeling
I
going
have
into this,
no
man?
idea right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea. You know, I think kind of the nice thing too, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think my business model aligns very well with Legend Story Studios, right?
it does.
So I'm trying to make it affordable, which makes it accessible,
Hmm.
which means it's easier for more people to play.
Yep.
On top of that, right? I'm not selling 500 boxes to one person, 40 boxes to another person, right?
Hmm.
So, and if you look at, my Patreon, there's only two tiers. There's a case or three cases, right?
Yep.
I'm sitting here in front of me. I just opened two cases of Arcane Unlimited for my own collection, right? I
Hmm.
can't even tell you the last time I played because everything's just been so crazy and busy. Um, and I'm looking at the stacks here. I'm looking at the cards I pulled, and two cases is a very solid collection. If I prefer to play only a couple heroes, um, with ample supply to trade to get two and three copies of some Majestics or something I need. I mean, I'm not sitting on a huge stack of Majestics, but two, four, six, eight, 10, 12, maybe 20. I mean, that's pretty solid.
Are you
It's
saying
it's not everything.
two cases for a person to open of a set and have as much as like and be good? If that is,
It,
then
I mean,
yeah, I
it's
totally agree,
it's
man.
it's decent. I mean,
Two
if you look at a
two
lot of
cases
decks,
is enough, I think, because you'll probably get a lot of stuff that you don't need, and then you can trade off. Because
right?
I've heard of a lot of people. And me specifically, I only like playing a couple heroes. Other heroes, I played them a little bit. I'm like, no, this is not my thing. So I think
Yeah,
two cases is perfect, especially on release.
yeah. For a player,
For
right?
a
If
yeah,
you're a
for a
collect,
person.
if you're a collector, you probably want more. Or if you're very competitive, you might want more. Because some
Yeah,
people don't want to trade, right?
that's true.
There's a lot that goes into that. It's especially if you can't go into a shop to trade, right? So it adds that layer of complexity which some people just don't want to deal with. So they might want more.
Yep.
But it's pretty solid. And so I think with my different tiers, I feel like I'm really aligning towards better being able to make the game uh, accessible to people, right?
I totally
Like,
agree, and
they're
that's
just not
what
going to come in
it's.
and buy everything out, Like,
Yeah,
I literally am sending this to hundreds of people to be able to grow in their local area, in top of my own. So that's
not
I think
for
that's
w-
an
not.
so I almost don't have to make that decision, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm almost auto bucketed into give it to as many people as you can, which is nice, you
Yeah,
know, in
and
in in in
that
terms
is a
of
good
once I figure out
setup.
what my allocation is.
And you have a good point there. It's you're saying that your setup is what's making it easy decision making for what you have to do, and then not only that, but you're doing what's in alignment of what LSS wants, which is have people be able to play the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's nice. Um, am I worried? A little bit. Um, but I'll do the best I can, and that's all I can do, right? It's out of my control, so I'll just have to deal with what I get, the best I can once I know.
Yep. But other than the
But it's been
doom
like
and
that for every
gloom,
release,
yeah.
you know. I started in basically Welcome to Wraith essentially ended, and
Mhm.
then within a few weeks of me starting, and then Arcane Rising wasn't too far after that, and then Crucible came out, and I sold out before I even received all the boxes, you
Wow.
know, and it's basically been like that ever since. So it's just been crazy. Um, but man, going back, I started doing case breaks. Um,
Yeah, the box battles,
yeah,
right?
well, I
Or
did
some
I did
else.
case breaks first. Case breaks was my first stick. I figured, look, I got to get my name out there.
Mhm.
What's the best way than get a bunch of people committed into value out of a case, right?
Mhm.
And it's got that entertainment factor. And I figured, hey, this will get my name out there. Oh, let's go sign up for DeckEdge's case break, right? I was
Uh-huh.
selling out in, I think the first one, I think it took a while, but the second case break I did, it sold out in minutes. It
Wow.
was crazy. Yeah, but
How is
then
it set
at the
up?
same time, hmm?
How is it set up? Did people I don't know how the case break works. I'm gonna
Oh,
be
so
straight.
you know, again, I'm a collector, so from a collector standpoint, I'm thinking to myself, what's kind of a pain to be a collector? And it's to fill those empty holes in your collection you have,
Yep.
right? And you don't get a lot of Majestics when you open a case or a box even. So I did it by slots. So that way you could really hone in for the gaps. At least that was my mindset. You could hone in to fill the gaps in your collection. Like you still need a bunch of super rares. You need foils. You need majestics. You could buy just that slot, and then that's all you're going to get. So you're not getting all these extras. I felt it was a reasonable price what I was doing it at.
Mhm.
Um, so, it worked out. I basically did it at the same price as a case, plus a little extra for shipping because I have to ship to multiple people versus one. And I mean, it was wildfire.
Well, that makes sense, and not only that, but maybe not only collectors, let's say players are saying, "Hey, I only care about the commons and rares because I want to just play the game." Could they like sign up, "Okay, I want the commons or just the rares in that case?"
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because then
You
the
just, you just
players get what they
you just
want.
get the rares. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah. And it
That
was fun. It was fun. I love ripping packs. I love
yeah,
it. It's fun.
it's so much fun.
So, you get a little heartbroken because you're like, oh, if I had kept that case for myself,
Yeah.
like, oh, that was such a good. I get excited. I love it when people that buy cases from me send me photos of like their sweet pulls. It's
Oh
a great
yeah.
feeling. I love it.
Because then they're really
Um,
happy. You're happy that they're
they're
happy.
amped.
It's
I'm amped that they got like sweet cards that they were looking for. It's just an all around good feel.
oh yeah.
So it's nice. And so, I felt like the case break was essentially the same thing, right? Because it was live streamed, people can make comments, things like that. And then, yeah, to your point, then I kind of tiptoed on box battles. Again, I watched a lot of MTG videos,
Mhm.
and there's a couple guys that do it. It's not live; they do it pre-recorded, and then they'll like overlay like the value of the box or the
Whoa, they don't do it
the pack.
live? That's scary though.
I mean, it's all recorded, so it's not like there's anything fishy.
Yeah, but if they record it and they pull something crazy, couldn't they just shut the video off and keep it and I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Nope,
don't mean
100%.
to be a dick. I'm sure they're all great. I always have that skeptical mindset, but I'm sorry. You can
No, no, no. I hear you absolutely. I'll tell you, they probably do it because it's a heck of a lot easier,
oh, for
honestly.
sure.
You know, but there's something to be said about it being live. It's fun,
Yeah. Well,
because you're experiencing it with that person that is, in it to win it. So
you
to
do it
speak.
great, man. The first time I saw you do it, I forget when it was. It was a month or two ago, but I think you went for 2.5 hours, man, and you did it for I think I don't know what, 40 or 50 different people, maybe even more, but you
Oh
were on it, man. And two
no,
and a
that
half
that that
hours
wasn't.
of opening booster packs and
Yeah.
interacting with the people. I can barely make a 20, 30, 40 minute video, man. You went 2.5 hours live and you're just like, okay, let's do a more pack. And you had the
I
number
know.
system. And not only that is after that video, you have to ship all that stuff out. And when I saw that, I thought, man, what am I doing? This guy, this guy has the full package. I don't know. I just thought it was
It's
brilliant, man.
intense.
It was
It's
that's
intense.
talent. You have talent, man.
So that's not a box battle,
Oh,
but
is that something
we'll get
else?
to that.
Sorry.
But yeah, we can get to that though if you want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Um, no, the box. I would love to do more of them. They're super fun. But you sell out of everything, right? Like I'd rather get a box to someone than have two people battle and one person gets everything. I do a consolation prize, which I like. Some people don't.
Hmm.
Um, the amount of money you're putting in, it's not a ton, but leave with a leave with the second place participation trophy.
Oh, for
Why
sure.
not? Um, I don't mind paying the extra out of pocket for the shipping because it's nice. It's
Mm.
nice to still get something. So yeah, so what you were talking about is on my Patreon, I do pack giveaways for being a member for my like original members, and costs a lot of money to ship those out, and I was doing it every month. But just due to the growth of the game and my business, I was just like, man, this really adds up. So I was like, all right, let's take a break off. Let's do a big shebang for Christmas. So I did it the first week of December, and so that was essentially 2 months worth. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to take that long. It was I don't know what August, September, October, November, December. It was the fifth one I had done for
Hmm.
giveaways. I think it was like 12 booster boxes, maybe. I think that of just
Something
cards
like
I gave
that. It
away.
was a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll tell you, I had a much better system down for that one than all of the other ones. I get better every time, but it still takes like an hour plus afterwards, 2 hours, to print the labels, put them on the packages. I try to put them in top loaders, put sleeves on them, tape them up, ship them properly, and it takes a lot of time. But it's my way of kind of giving back, especially for the people that started with me in believing in my mission.
Mm.
So yeah, it's fun. I like it. Anybody can watch it. It's free for people to go and just watch the stream. It's good fun. We have good banter, which is nice because otherwise I'm talking to myself for 2.5 hours, and that can get dodgy if no one's saying anything. So
Oh yeah, no, it's a blast, man. Seeing all
yeah,
the comments and people saying, "Oh
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
cool." No, it is, and you're really great at it, and it's awesome to see that you were getting into the community too. You're making content as well, and you're doing a big story. You've got a lot of, a lot on your plate, man. And what
Yeah,
would
and I mean,
hmm?
no, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to transition in. So if someone's saying, Jason, I love what you're doing. You inspire me to go out and create my own store. What would you tell them? Like what is the biggest hurdles or biggest things that you've taken out of being a store?
Um,
I'm curious about this myself because
yeah,
personally, I don't know if I'd ever do it because I'm not the shipping and handling type of guy. I hate all that stuff and transacting, but I do see that there is when you get a system down, it can be really nice and fulfilling in a way. I did do some eBay transactions in the past. It was fun. It was fun like mailing stuff out, but at the end of the day,
absolutely.
I was only like making $2 a card. I wasn't doing it the best way, but yeah. What do you think you've gotten out of it all, man? Because it looks like a really complex thing in the background.
It's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into it that you don't think about. Eventually I got to a point where I needed software for taxes. I had
Hmm.
to really amp up my website, which, that's painful in its own right. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of free stuff out there to do this, right? Like it's not challenging. And especially with like TCG player. I mean, let's not talk about Fab. Let's just talk about collectibles in general,
Yep.
cardboard in general. Even if you want to just move your stuff you own yourself. There's a ton of free tools to help. It's easy to make a website. There's so many free ones. Wix, Squarespace, all super easy, all very user friendly. And I come from 14 jobs ago. I did programming for a website, and it's so much easier now to just whip something together and throw something up. Even if you're like a content creator, you can just make a simple one page, hey, this is about me web page.
Yeah,
Piece
it's
of
true.
cake, no problem. You can use Wix or strikingly.com. You can do it for free. You can register a domain for $7, $14. And just set up just hey, this is my portfolio, right? Like, this is where you can find me and all my stuff. It's not hard, and it doesn't take a lot. Don't be overwhelmed by it, right? Like, honestly, like, this might sound silly, but just make a plan.
Hmm.
You know, say I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z this week. Do this next week, and just chip away at it. If you don't hit it, that's fine. But honestly, if you just write it down and just say, hey, I'm going to commit an hour this day, right? Every Thursday night at 8, I'll do 1 hour. You might not even work that day, the hour. Something might come up. That's fine. But all those things kind of help. And it honestly doesn't take much um, to do it. So, it might seem overwhelming. It might seem challenging, but it's pretty easy.
Hmm. That's cool advice, man.
Send me an email. I'll give you like top 5 things to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, just give me an email.
Here's the list of things you need to. That's
Yeah,
cool, man. Yeah, first you
use
have to talk to Susan.
yeah. You talk to Susan. Get your license. If you want to go that route, if you're under, whatever your state is, if you're under 5,000 in sales or something, you don't have to worry about it. No
Here's
big
her phone
deal.
number.
eBay doesn't report unless it's over X amount. PayPal doesn't report unless it's over X amount. So, if you want to be in the gray area, that's fine. I'm not saying do that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying you can.
It
um,
exists.
but yeah, I mean, you can use Pirate Ship to save a ton on shipping.
What's pirate ship?
Super pirateship.com. So what they do is they essentially, purchase tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars of, shipping, right?
Hmm.
And, it's like in this bucket. They're like, hey, United States Postal Service, here's $200,000. Give us this discount, right? It's basically like your online BJs for shipping,
Sounds
right?
like a
Like
co-op.
it's like exactly. It's a Costco, it's a co-op, it's a
Yeah.
premier group, but it's a free service.
Hmm.
And the way they can do that is just because they have so many users that are buying all of these labels, and they're just like the clearance house for shipping. Super cheap.
That's cool.
It's free. Use it. You'll save a ton on shipping.
That's a life
Um,
hack.
it's a life hack. It integrates into eBay for free. So if you want to sell stuff on eBay, piece of cake. It's great. It saves everybody's info in there. When you have an account, you can save shipping profiles. So if you always ship, 3 cards, you can say, this is 3 cards. This is how much it weighs. This is the bubble mailer I put it in. And you can save it as a profile. So then when you make that sale, you put in your shipping info, you click that. Hey, this is that thing. Boom, done. It's amazing.
That sounds really
So
cool, man.
yeah, it might seem overwhelming, challenging. It's not horrible. You can do it if you want to do it. It's really, you can do it.
If you're passionate about the game and you like that kind of stuff. But I mean,
Yeah,
content creating is like I definitely
it's
fell
tough.
into it. It's tough, but man, that's kind of what I got into. But I really could see myself in the future maybe delving into that store aspect, but I don't think I could do both at the same time. And that's what's cool when I saw you pumping out the content that you were with all the box openings, because not only are you doing the content, but you're also doing the storefront too, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a ton of content, but it's a lot easier when you do it live because I don't have to worry about, like. I mean, I could do some post editing if I wanted to, but this is me. Watch it. Let's have fun.
Oh
Get some
yeah.
cards out there. Yeah.
Because editing
So
takes a really long amount of time, and yeah, when you do the live thing, does it just automatically upload that video to YouTube? I've never done the live thing before.
it will. I think you can stop it
Hmm.
to do editing afterwards if you want, for sure. I used to make instructional videos for educational content.
Hmm.
So I used, what is the name of the program? I can't even remember.
Oh, you're good.
Um, but it I have it. I know how to use it, but it's
Yeah.
I open the program and I just get flashbacks of making the most boring educational content on like how to use an instrument, and you know, I just get shivers.
Yeah.
So like I can just avoid that by doing stuff live and not have to worry about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I used Windows Movie Maker back in the day, and that thing was just so frustrating. Sometimes if you had way too many clips, it would just start lagging out an insane amount, and then just
Ah,
crap out
yep,
sometimes, and you'd lose the whole thing. And even now, I
yeah,
just hate editing stuff. But at the point of what I'm making now, it's not too bad. I just cut off the beginning or end, or splice two things. But I really
yeah,
have a lot of respect for people who like do that editing type of thing. But
yep,
I think that you bring up a good point about well, as for me, I'm learning about this stuff is like focusing, like it's so easy to get like suckered into doing so many different things at once. But if you have a
100%.
business model of saying, hey, this is who I am as a store, and then I'm going to do this live stream like content right here, like this is what I'm all about. Because if you had to be bogged down with the editing and all that other stuff, and
Oh
doing
my
a
goodness.
and same with me, if I had to be bogged down with like shipping and handling and stuff, I don't know if I could do it. And I've wanted to send stuff out in the past, but it's like, I don't want to deal with that, man. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Like, well, hold on. I
Mhm.
don't lose my thought. The program I use is called Camtasia.
Hmm. I've never heard of it.
They also own Snagit, which you can do screenshots and screen records on your computer. I want to say it's like 160 bucks. It's super easy to use. It's very quick. There might be something that's even less expensive, but if you want a very easy video editing tool, I recommend it. It's very simple to use.
That sounds
Um,
cool.
no, but so back to your point, there's so many things you can do, but you can
Yeah.
just lose focus trying to do too many things. Like I used to work 4 jobs, and what I'm
4?
doing now, yeah, what I'm doing now feels like more. You
Wow,
know,
that's crazy.
yeah. So that I mean that's what it feels like, right?
How
Like
many
I'm just
hours
like
did you do at each job, and how did you get from one place to the other? That's insane, man.
it comes to planning. It
Yeah.
comes down to planning. So I worked at the airport, right? So I would drive to the airport. My main job was like a mile from there. I could go to there, and then after that, I had another job that was like another mile. Um, and then basically it was like a circle from my house, but everything was like within like 5 or 10 miles, right?
Oh, nice.
And then another one was only a couple days a week. So they were all only like a couple days a week, but I picked all of them because um, it was only a couple hours. So it wasn't really the money, it was the perks.
Oh, that's
You know what I
smart.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wish somebody told me this when I was a teenager. Like, I work some interesting jobs, but if somebody was like, "Oh, dude, if you go work here, you can get this perk." Like, okay, if anyone is listening and you were super young and you live near an airport, go work at the airport. It's super fun. You bomb around in a tug outside. You get pretty much free flights,
Free
depending what
flights
airline.
just working at an airport? I didn't
Yeah,
know that. That's
yeah,
amazing.
it's insane. And then international flights are like dirt cheap. So if you're
Really?
young and you live near an airport, yeah, yeah.
Huh.
I could fly to. I think one of the most expensive places was London, and it was like maybe $200 round trip.
Wow.
Because so the way it works, I mean, it varies between airlines,
Mhm.
and it changes constantly. So it's not like you could watch this video 6 months from now and go apply at an airport and be like, that dude at DeckEdge, that was a bunch of
He
BS.
suckered me into getting a job.
It
The
changes
nerve of
constantly.
that guy. And now I have a job.
However, typically the way it works is you just pay airport taxes, right?
Huh.
Because the airline doesn't want to pay it, so they make you pay the tax. So like you could fly to Egypt for like $38,
That
right?
is awesome.
But you're flying like deadhead, so there has to be an empty seat. And there also has to be an empty seat when you get back. So yes, you can get stuck somewhere. It happens.
Which
I've
is a
been there.
great experience. Yeah,
It is.
as long as you're in a good country, so pick that one first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even a state, but you have to be flexible, but it's fun. It's a fun job, honestly. I loved it. So that's my plug for airports.
That's
Do
cool,
it.
man. Yeah, because I worked at a bunch of what is it, small jobs when I in my younger years, and I didn't get any of those perks, man. I mean, I worked at a grocery store, and
Me too.
I would,
Horrible.
yeah, it's horrible. You get no perks. I mean, sometimes you'd sneak a cookie in the back once in a while, but only
Yeah.
because I saw my manager doing it. I'm like, okay, this is the corporate policy of sneaking
Right.
cookies. It was like literally my first day on the job, man. The guy's like, let's go in the
You
back.
take a pretzel or a celery, forget it. You're fired.
Yeah,
Cookies,
yeah.
you're good. Cookies, you're fine.
Only cookies. Yeah, and yeah, he took a cookie and started eating it on the way. I'm like, well, this corporate culture is just
You're like,
taking cookies.
clearly.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. No, yeah, I worked at a grocery store. Like, this is you work at a restaurant. A lot of them gives you a free meal
Oh, work
or
restaurant is
food.
huge, I think. With tips, if you are a server at a restaurant, they get
Tips
good
too. Yeah.
money. They get good
Yeah.
money as a server. But yeah, you get free
Yeah.
food every day, or not every day, but I had a bunch of server friends, and yeah, they were making bank with tips, and then also, what is it? Yeah, you're right. With the food, they'd say, "Hey, cook, can you cook me up something?" And they'd do it
Yeah.
and take it home.
Yeah. Yeah.
There should, you know what we should do, Jason, is there needs to be a tier list of jobs to do when you're a teenager, you know?
100%. No, absolutely. Like, man, I work so many. Ah, if I'd only known then. 100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like the
So much
janitor.
to make it.
So I was like cleaning stalls and doing all this crazy
Yeah.
stuff. Things you
Horrible.
do back in the day to make a buck, but it
Mm-hmm.
teaches you a lot.
I worked at a clothing place for a while. Got
Hmm.
half off. Awesome. I'll take half off all my clothes. 100%. You
That's really
know.
good.
I did some cell phone sales for a while. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, so I was like, I'll get some sales experience. It'll kind of round out my abilities. And now here I am, just I mean, arguably selling myself, but um,
Well, I
yeah,
think all that
all those things help.
experiences, yeah, it
Yeah,
really
they
helped
they
because it
foundation.
really made you. I'm sorry, it didn't it make you more like a hustler?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you could argue I've always been one, but I think it honed. And
Yeah,
not to say like I'm trying to take advantage of people, but I'm trying to scrap stuff together
you're
and
trying
make
to
something.
work.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I understand the other end, right? Like, okay, you're trying to sell me something. Well, what is this, right? And so I like to think about that process and try to figure out what somebody wants, right? Like, so I mean, just as an example, I thought, hey, let's try this. So I made a collector bundle
Hmm.
on my Patreon, and it was supposed to be, you know, Welcome to Wraith Unlimited, Arcane Unlimited, a deck box, some pro molds for your sweet hits you're gonna pull from the boxes, right? A
Yeah.
nice magnetic case, and then some deck sleeves. So basically, hey, you want to jump into Fab and you joined me. Here's a great way to hit the ground running, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, that might seem really basic and a no-brainer, but I think you could argue that being on the other end trying to sell cell phones to people, I think I can kind of better understand what people might be looking for and then try to pull something like that together. I mean, those things sold out. It's crazy. People really enjoyed them. I had people that would buy them because they were just going to literally send it to their friend or brother to get them playing, Fab. And I'm like, I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's a
Ship it out.
perfect thing to do because you're right. You're saying, okay, well, once my customer opens these boxes, they're gonna want to put the cards they get, the good hits, into these, nice little, the magnetic case and what have you. So might as well include those into the bundle. And yeah, when I said hustle, I mean, man, there's a lot of stuff you have to do in the back end. I must imagine. And for me as a content creator, I can literally record videos for like 2 to 3 days, right? And I could schedule it out for 2 weeks and I could just
Yeah.
take the 2 weeks off and no big deal. But you,
Yeah.
man,
Just
you
have
like
them auto post.
exactly. No, that's what I do, man. I just schedule
Yeah.
them out and I'm
Yep.
good. And sometimes in a week I'm like, sometimes honestly I just don't have the time. So I can't make content. But and
You
it's
can
no big
bank
deal
them.
at the end of the day. Yeah,
You
exactly. And
can
I do
you
bank
can
some.
bank them and go on vacation.
Yep. And that's what I'm
All
planning
these
to
are
do in the
hitting rhyme, and
future.
you're sipping margaritas in Key West. Your feet
Yeah.
are water.
But you, like, it's hard to do that, I feel. You have to say,
Forget it.
"Hey, I'm going on vacation, guys, give me a break." Or just say like, "Hey, I can't fulfill orders in this time period," and it's tough. But that's
Yeah,
what I mean by hustle is like, there's a lot of work in the background, especially with all the orders you fulfill, man. I mean, you're getting it all done. I mean,
yeah.
it's a lot
You
of
know,
work, but I think that you have a good point in the background is that, it you found something that you really love and you found it and you said, "Man, this flesh and blood thing, it's going places, man, with the mechanics and everything. Like this is gonna be the next big thing." And man, yeah, I'm totally on board with that too. I mean, that's why I got into this as well. It's because if you look at this game for you know a couple hours, you really realize, okay, there's something special here. It's gonna pop.
yeah. Um, Let me just jump back a sec.
Yeah, sure.
The I want to say that everyone that I ship to and things like that, you know, back to the piece, I've had hiccups and things like that, but they've been really supportive. Like let's talk about Crucible, right?
Yep.
Crunch time, like crazy. Who knew that it would basically evaporate? It evaporated. I mean,
It
I don't
completely.
even I don't even think booster boxes touched tabletops. They just were opened and gone.
What
Like
date was
just gone.
this? Let's date this.
Let's date it. Geez, I don't know. End of September, first week October,
That sounds right.
right? But everybody's been very supportive. I try to get out what I can to who I can, the fairest way I can, based on what I know. Right? Everybody doesn't know what goes on in the background, but based at what's at my hand, in being able to navigate that, I just shout out to everyone being a really great community in understanding that we're all working through these trials and tribulations
Hmm.
with this product and with this game, and I really appreciate it. Just the kind words, the understanding. It's just it's very helpful. So I want to put that out there. Um, and
It's
then
unlike I've ever seen, honestly. I mean, just
it's
the positivity and the excitement over the game, because I feel everyone is very much like what we have been talking about. Is we see something great in the game and we want to promote that, and we realize like when I see what you're doing, man, I'm like, man, that's awesome, and that's awesome for the game, and that's what's making it grow, and all of us are wanting it to grow, and
yeah.
that's really fueling the positivity, which I'm loving too, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've played so many TCGs. Again, behind me, I have Netrunner. I have the original Netrunner made by Wizards of the Coast. Um, you can see right here. I probably have like, geez, I don't know, 10,000 Legend of the Five Ring cards from a
Oh,
collection
I
I just
I have
bought.
your logo up, sorry.
Oh, sorry. There's like a bunch of like boxes right there. It's like all Legend of the Five Rings, the original, which for a while Wizards of the Coast also made, and then sold it to AGE and crazy stuff. But even this game dies, I'm still gonna play it. I hope it
Oh,
goes
for
as long as
sure.
it can. Um, but it's just a really fun game. I'm passionate about it. Just like all these other games I mentioned, I love playing them. I still play them. Um, and so yeah, just get as many people and just keep playing it. Um, Question for you, Bronson.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I'm curious.
I'm an
I
open
always find
book.
this very interesting. I've talked to a lot of people about this recently, and
Mhm.
so I don't know. You could literally almost do like a series on it.
Oh,
How do you
okay.
store? How do you store your cardboard?
How do I store my car? Okay, so
How
I've
do you store?
wanted to make this video for
What's
a
your
while.
process?
I just put it in these.
Yeah,
Like
but
this is my favorite thing, and just a note to all those people. I want to make a video about it, but these shoe boxes these things can go to heck. Like I hate I hate the
hate them,
shoe
hate them.
because putting them
If you could see
together is the
behind me,
worst. Yeah.
if you could see behind me, I literally have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I literally probably have like 30 of the 1,000 count BCW white boxes. It's so much easier because I can
Yeah.
just put a set right on the side. I can put a set right on the side, like just tape a card to it. And then I pull that one thing out where that big box, it's on the table, it takes up a ton of space. Really don't need all those cards for something.
Hmm.
But what I typically do, especially for older games I don't touch a lot, I'll take a penny sleeve and I'll slide a playset in it.
Oh,
So
that's
then when I'm
smart.
go so then when I'm going through that big BCW box, everything's all bundled together in playsets, and I can just pull them out. Or
Oh,
even or
that's
right
smart. I like that idea because then everything's like, in its place, like in the
yeah.
box, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, another thing I do, and I haven't really told people this, but there are these fireproof and waterproof black cases, and they hold about four of these. And I have used that for my collections in the past that I've actually put money into because, man, we've all heard stories of people who just, there's a flood or a fire, and these people lose everything. And if you're putting a lot of money in these cards, if you're putting what, how much, like 5 grand into a bunch of cards, I think it's really smart to buy a $50 fireproof or floodproof, case like this in order to put all these things in. So if anything happens, then you're good. I mean, you could use that for anything, like legal documents as well. You just put all your collectibles and
Yeah.
junk in there. And yeah, I mean, I think that's something that people don't talk about at all. But I think that is really a smart play. I mean, people have to decide what they want with life. I didn't know if the musk or anything of the fireproof material affected the cards. I don't think it did. So I was really safe and I put saran wrap over these things and then I put it in. So it was like more
You
of a
gotta be
smell proof. I don't know. I was being crazy.
you gotta be careful with that though.
Yeah. Oh, with the saran
So
wrap?
let's tick through a couple things on here. This is a great topic.
It is.
I was actually in the process of acquiring material to do a video on it. A safe, it's not 100%. If the fire's too hot, the card can still warp and be destroyed inside of it.
That is
So
true.
it is not foolproof, but it's got to be a really hot fire, right? Like if it's in your basement, and think about it, say your house is on fire and they can't put it out and everything collapses down, the hottest point's going to be at the very bottom. So if it's in a safe or something in your basement, be careful.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
I mean,
floods in
we're-
basements. The
yeah,
basements are
we're
the
talking,
most water. So,
yeah, we're talking 1%, right?
yeah.
Like that might be an issue for, but just be aware, be aware.
I mean, well,
Saran
can
wrap,
we Oh, saran wrap?
you're saran wrapping the box and stuff. That's
Probably not the
probably
best.
fine. But you got to be careful about how you store them, right? People complain about like their foils bending and folding. That's
Mhm.
moisture going into the card, and what's happening is the foil doesn't flex like the cardboard does, and that's
Mhm.
why you don't see it happen to non-foiled cards. And so what's happening there is, you're like, oh, well, it's sleeved. Well, there's still air. If air can get to the card, moisture can get to the card, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the better ways is to double sleeve your card, right? And a lot of people don't realize this, but you put the perfect fit from top to bottom, and then you slide that into your dragon shield katana sleeve bottom to top, right? Like you slide it down into the sleeve.
Mm.
You slide the card into the sleeve, right? The opposite way, that's how you want to slide the perfect fit onto the card. And what that's doing is it's really eliminating, it's making it extremely difficult for air to get to the card. And in some cases, it actually makes it very water resistant too. If you were to spill water on it, because the gap is so thin, it's really hard for water to get into a card sleeve, especially if it's double sleeved. There's no way the water's going to get to the bottom unless it's totally submerged, right?
That's a
But
good point.
if you knock a drink over, you're good. Which is why I typically try to double sleeve anything I'm actually going to be physically playing. Worst case scenario, right? Even if you go out somewhere with some friends, I've done this, gone to a cafe. There's a lot of these cafes now that have like board games that you can play for free and stuff. Well, what if someone walks by and trips and spills their drink, right? Like you have no idea that's going to happen. But so that's why I always try to double sleeve anything I'm playing, because accidents happen.
Oh, for sure.
Storage wise, let's talk about that though. So you're
Mhm.
saran wrapping it, but if you're putting that in a box somewhere, that is still susceptible to fluctuations in temperature, right?
Mhm.
And so I,
It's in
I'm still
temperature
doing
controlled, but I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to tell anyone to do it because I personally don't know how it's going to work long term. But I definitely have
yeah,
to check on it. I did it about a year ago, and I put all the things in there because my thought was, if there's a fire, Well, what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of smoke. The smoke is going to, seep into the bag somehow, and then get into the
Yep.
cards, and it's going to make it smell like horrible. So I was like, oh, Saran wrap is the end all be all solution. But then
Yeah.
I was even worried. I was like, well, is aeration important with cards and all that? I know temperature control is the end all be all. If you don't have temperature control, then you're screwed. You have to be what, 70 degrees or something like that.
Honestly, so I've been looking into it. You can really have some pretty good swings with temperature. You could safely store, and I'm still doing research, but
Mm-hmm.
this is based on what I've read. This isn't a gospel or whatever, but you really don't want to go higher than 80 degrees, and you don't want to go lower than 40 degrees,
Got
and you
Yeah,
should
that
be
makes
fine.
sense.
And then the humidity, you don't want to be higher than 40%, right?
Gotcha.
I mean, you can be a couple ticks higher, a couple ticks lower. Um,
Yeah, it's just a
but
good ballpark estimate.
for general like collectible storage, that's kind of the range you want to be in for those things.
Yeah.
And so
It
if you're in that, you're relatively fine. Um, but some people might think, oh, well, it's in my room, it's in my office, whatever else. Well, that's fine, but what if houses have mold, right? You don't
Yep.
realize it, but there actually is a ton of moisture in that room, and you just don't know it.
Yeah, and a
Um,
lot of people have kids or, other
Or-
things or pets or what have you. There's a lot of different things that can really damage the cards long term. And if you're a collector, if you like that aspect, which I do as well, it's really a good thing to just consider. And another thing, man, and I want to make a video about this topic is I think theft is a huge issue, and people need to start realizing, like, even though you bought your sets in the past, like some people here in the community who've purchased, their stuff for pretty cheap, once all this stuff has gotten, really expensive, they might have spent an initial $150 on their deck, but these deck prices, man, must be like, you know, 4,000 or I mean $3,000 or $2,000. It depends if you have some crazy, rainbow foil and lightning strike. If you have three in your deck and all this other stuff. And I know at the time people were like, "Oh, I just got these cards for $20 each. I like the rainbow foil." But now these things are just insane price. Especially, can you imagine if you have something like a Shiana or a cold foil tunic or whatnot? I mean, all these cards
yeah, bonkers.
from back in the day. And now are just insane prices. So I really wanted people. I think really need to look at that because even though I think it's good to think that everyone around is nice, but I mean, have you heard of? There's this one case. I forget if it was in New Zealand or Australia where this guy he had a Shiana, all three Fable cards, and a bunch of other stuff, and all got stolen. Someone broke into his house and stole it.
I
I,
mean,
I,
I believe it.
yeah, I don't even know if he got it back, and I feel sorry for that man. And it's tough. I mean, back in the day, it was probably cool, like showing people
Co-
around. But then,
I mean,
yeah,
let, let's dig on that. Like collectibles are tough. Like if you have a renter's insurance, it's dirt cheap. My sister went to Portugal, and they went into a cafe to get some coffee. They just arrived, and they busted in the window and stole all her luggage.
that's insane. In
Her
the
renter's
cafe,
insurance. Yeah, they were in the cafe for like maybe 5 minutes, and they smashed the window, stole all the luggage out of the car. They
that's
literally just
insane.
arrived in Portugal, but her renter's insurance covered it.
In a car?
In a car in another country.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but the tricky thing with collectibles is a lot of insurance companies won't cover it unless you have it appraised. A lot of people
Oh,
don't realize that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you really have to dig into it. Yeah, it's worth the phone call. Um, so that's one thing to be wary about. I have a larger collection of other TCGs, and you want to make sure it's protected. You know,
Yeah, because
if
I
fire
mean,
happens, if whatever else happens,
yeah, because back in the
it,
day, a Shiana and three Fables that might have been maybe 1,000, $1,500, maybe not even that. Well, no, probably around that. I don't know. It depending on what how you pulled stuff. But I mean, at the time, I mean, it might be what, 30, $40,000. I mean,
It's
money
crazy.
does stuff to people. Yeah, and a 30, $40,000 is insane. I mean,
Yeah. Um, back to the storing stuff.
mhm.
Amazon, $12, right? It will tell you your temperature. It will tell you the humidity of the room you're in. Just buy one. It's $12.
A humidity temperature thing gauge.
Yeah, it just tells you temp and humidity. Just pop it right next to all your collectibles, and you'll have that peace of mind to know if you're good or not, right? Because I mean, can you tell me how warm your room is right now and what the humidity is? I
It's
have no
really
idea.
warm. I wonder if my phone can tell me.
It's not gonna tell the humidity.
Will my weather app tell me that?
I mean, it'll tell you what it is
Outside?
outside, but not yeah, but not in your house.
Well, I'm in Florida, so it's 80%. That's not good.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah.
that Saran wrap is kicking in.
I want to say it was 40% what I read. It's gonna be different because you're inside your house, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But that's the point. You don't know, right?
yeah.
And would you rather know or not know? So for $12 is worth it just to at least get that baseline check
Well, to
to
your
make
point, if
sure
people are spending five to $10,000 on collections, I mean, what's $12 or what's
exactly.
$50? What's a little bit more to keep your collection safe yeah. This
Yeah,
is
I was actually gonna.
We're having the grown
I was
up
actually.
talk here, Jason. We're saying,
I
hey,
know.
use protection, guys.
I know. I feel like I'm like this old man. Like you kids, you better put these things in.
Even though you want to go raw, bare bone with your
Right.
cards, with your dicks, you got to protect your
Oh,
dicks.
back in the day, we used to just shuffle what's a sleeve.
But it's that, yeah. It's something that isn't talked about.
Yeah, I was
Safe
actually
protection.
the
Sorry.
whole reason I was researching all that stuff is I was actually going to try to do like another bundle that had things like that in it, you know,
Hmm.
for people.
That would be cool.
There's actually this one. It's a little device that runs on a battery, so you do have to replace the battery, but it'll actually Bluetooth the temperature and humidity to your phone. So as long as there's one that connects to Wi-Fi too, so it'll tell you anywhere. So if
Hmm.
you get a spike in one of those things, it'll notify you and warn you.
Oh, that's cool. So
So
it's like a smart humidity sensor that hits to your
yeah,
phone. That's
so if you
nice.
just throw that where your collectibles are, like you know, I'm in Maine, it gets freezing. If my furnace dies and my temperature drops, it'll let me know that too, which is also helpful. Um, but it's like I found some for like $10. You
That's
know,
good.
I mean, that's not bad. If that's your thing and you want to make sure you're doing it properly, it's pretty cheap to make sure you're storing correctly.
Do you see a business out of this in the future? Some sort of bank for trading cards, essentially. And what you could do with this too, man, is let's say you have a really high deal, like a high cost deal. You do it at one of those places. I mean, maybe a bank is the answer, but like,
There was
is it
there was a
expensive?
company I saw several years ago,
Hmm.
and they kind of did that for like magic cards, where you would send in all your cards, and they would just hold on to them, and then you could go in and like see your collection,
Uh huh.
right? And you decided you want to sell them, they would just kind of handle that,
Hmm.
which is weird. I don't think it worked because I can't find it at all. But I thought it was, when you said that, it reminded me of it.
Was it a scam?
It, Maybe it could have been. Hey, thanks
That
for
sounds
your
really
$100
scary.
collection. See you later.
Yeah. Website goes down.
Yeah. Oh,
Their
our
phone.
building burned.
Yeah.
It was empty, but you can't tell because it was all cardboard.
Lit up
A
like a
bunch of
Christmas
newspapers.
tree.
Yeah, it's a bunch of newspapers from 5 years ago. They just grabbed all the real estate flyers when they were leaving the grocery store for like 2 months and threw them in the building and burnt it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's scary. I mean, I heard when a couple of years ago, there's that puka trade thing. Those really different. I will say,
Yeah,
I never looked into it,
I don't know
and
how I feel about those sites. They're weird.
yeah,
It's like, hey, we're gonna make this fake money for your money, and you buy them to then trade your stuff. I like how they do some of the things where like you can set a price, and then if somebody sees it and they want it, and you also have something else that they have for sale, and you have a price on that, it'll just like automatically do the trades.
Yeah.
So there's a cool convenience factor to it, but the whole like we have to make a currency around it type deal. Um, I don't know. I'm too old. It's not for me.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
weird.
you. Yeah, no,
I'm not
the
gonna lie.
concept is nice, but it's just something just feels weird with it, and I don't know what ever happened to all those different things, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I made an account on all of them. Just I like website design, so it was cool just to log in and see how they did stuff. Um, so I have accounts for most of them. Um, but it was interesting. It was pretty cool.
yeah,
I liked it. Yep. I also thought it was interesting on like how some sites do like deck rentals and things like that. It doesn't seem like it's a
really,
thing, but yeah,
I
I
haven't
thought that
heard
was
of
always
that.
I thought that was kind of an interesting concept. You pay X amount and you get the deck to rent for X period of time.
It's like a
Bronson,
suit for prom.
you need a deck for the next fab event you're going to. Let me know. I'll ship it to you. You just pay me $20 a month, and any deck you want, any card you want, I'm mailing it to you. Please don't.
I want a Viscerai deck with all three fables.
Yeah,
No,
and can you put 15 Enlightened Strikes in it?
yeah, yeah. It just has 15 rainbow foil and lightning strikes, and you're like, why do
Yeah.
you need rainbow foil? And like, I just need it, man. I need to show my clout, and it's gonna be yeah, and
Intimidation 11.
yeah, and then you'll see my phone number gets disconnected and stop making content.
Yeah, yep.
I don't
So
know.
wait, so
People need to be careful, but
binders. How do you store your cards in binders? Are you a 9 or 12 pocket binder?
I am a nine pocket binder, but I ran into a big dilemma with Crew because Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising, I could easily put stuff in, and I only do one copy of each unique card. But then Crew, it just messes up everything, and I
Wait,
started to do
in a
it, and then
binder, you put one card in?
yeah, I just put one of each unique. So if there's like a red, yellow, and blue pummel, that's all I put in, like one of each. But then in crew, it just
Yep.
totally messed up my system. So it's like, I don't want to do crew at this moment. But I really want to go back and do that set. But yeah, getting all those cards. What about you?
I'm a 12. Um, Mostly because I just crunch the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. It's a hundredth of a penny cheaper or a penny cheaper per card to put them in a 12 versus a 9.
Hmm.
So I bought a bunch of 12s, and the way I do it is play sets in the binder, and I go top to bottom because a playset in Fab is only 3.
Mm.
So now you're like, well, wait a minute. What about my weapons? What about my heroes? That's a great question, Bronson. I'm glad you brought it up.
The
I,
content makes itself.
I skip all of those. So I do all the cards you can do play sets of.
Uh huh.
But if it's like the tome, right? It's a legend, a quote legendary card. You can only play one. Well, whatever. I bought 3 of them anyways, so I'm putting 3 in. That's an exception. Back to your point, crew messes with everything. So then what I do is after the playsets of everything, then I go to heroes and weapons, and then I go across versus top to bottom because you can do one hero, the rainbow hero, the weapon,
Mm.
the rainbow weapon, or the cold foil weapon, and that's 4. So it's always 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And then once that's done, then there's a page for all the individuals like the legendaries.
I need to do that
And that
because
way,
mine it just shifts all around. But with your method, it
exactly,
doesn't sound like
drives me
any.
nuts.
There's no like blank spots because I hate the blank spots or when things are
Yep,
shifted around a little bit. And it just visually as a collector and a binder, oh man, it just irritates
kills
me.
me.
Yeah,
Kills me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this way, it kind of it. Eliminates it the best, from what I can tell, from a storage standpoint, and it's easy to find the cards I need,
yeah.
right? Because it's all by number. So if I know it's card 27, or I need to pull and get my Scalding Rain, which is 141, I just I can flip through the pages right to 141 because I know, oh, I should have a playset of that. It's right there. And then if it's a weapon, I know go to the back of the binder, or a hero back to the binder, or legendary in the back of the binder. So
Yeah, I definitely
that's
want to try that out. Especially, I think another thing is the Rainbow Foil Unlimited. Since you were able to actually get them instead of the alpha ones are pretty far out of my price range at the moment. But I mean,
legit.
getting a full play set of Welcome to Wrath or Arcane Rising Unlimited Rainbow Foil in two binders would be awesome. And to do that for every set going forward, that's something I would really love to collect. Could you imagine, like, with other TCGs, if you did that from the very beginning, and 10 years goes by and you have 10 years worth of binders that just have the whole set? I mean, that's cool. Because I love the artwork, and just
Yeah.
looking at the cards is beautiful.
No, absolutely. I like flipping through my Netrunner LCG. It has some cool art on it.
Yeah, a
That one's
lot of
easy to.
people like that. A lot of people love Netrunner too.
Yeah, great, 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 great game. Very fun. Not cheap to get into. When they discontinued it, the prices really went crazy on that.
Oh wow.
It's been a long, arduous road to get to complete mine. I still don't have the final cycle, but funny enough, one of the rarer of the expansions was Reign and Revere, and it was like $300-400 on eBay. I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Around the time I was starting this, and B, it's a lot of money for a game that is supposed to be accessible because they just print everything.
Hmm.
There's no like rarity system. But
Oh,
I
for
got
Netrunner.
yeah, I got a sealed copy from a guy that was like literally 20 miles from me,
Oh
which was
wow.
so bizarre. I couldn't even believe it. Because I play all of it online. There aren't a lot of people that play around me, but I really enjoy the game. So it was so weird. I just happened to have what he was missing to work towards completing his set, and he happened to have a sealed copy, and he didn't want to sell it for $400 or $500. He wanted to get it into a player's hands, which is me.
Mm.
And so it worked out great for both of us. I literally ripped open the packaging in front of him, and it's good to go. Set
That's
complete. I
cool.
can now play cards from it. I later got an additional sealed copy just so I could have a sealed copy of it, which I paid a lot of money for. But it was a very exciting moment, which was cool.
That's cool, man.
Yep. Do you have a binder preference?
I used to have this no nice. I'm all about class in life, and I like this, like, this brown leather bound. I forgot. I think it was Ultra Pro. They made
Yep.
some really nice binder, but man, what really upset me is I bought a bunch maybe 3 to 2 years ago, and they were nice. You felt the binder, and it just felt so. It's like touching a leather couch. But
Yeah.
then the new ones I bought in 2020, it felt like sandpaper. It was horrible. The way they made it, and I went to the
It's
game
like fox
store.
leather.
Yeah, man, it was weird. And I went back to the game store, and they were like, "Yeah, this is the new batch they gave us. It isn't as great." And I'm like, "Oh man, they just I don't know." So I'm currently seeking new type of bindage for my collection, but the 12 page really does seem really really nice. What brand do you use?
I'm not sold on one yet. For all my fab, I have Dex protection,
Mm-hmm.
and they're nice. I watched a guy YouTube video where he showcased it, and it was first I heard of it. And as soon as I watched the video, I'm like, I got to get it. I need this in my life. So I registered an account with them so I could buy it. But they're just like they're sold out all the time, which is frustrating. I finally got some for myself and another Patreon, so all my fab is in them. I
Mm-hmm.
like them a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the zipped one, even though honestly it's a better way to store your card. It protects it if something spills. It makes it less susceptible to air and moisture. I just don't like them though. I can't do it.
Ah.
So I have the non-zip ones, but they're nice. They have some pitfalls. So I'm gonna try. It's not huge. Again, I watched Tolarian Academy. He did a really good review on it. I can't do it justice compared to him, so just watch that. But I want to try the Game Genic ones. I've been buying a lot of Game Genic stuff, and I really like it. Their deck box is amazing. They have this thing called the Dungeon. You know that cardboard 2-lane box you hate that you showed earlier?
Cardboard. Oh,
The
yeah.
BCW.
Oh, geez, the shoebox. Never buy
So
this.
yeah, so Game Genics has basically something like that, but it has a really nice sort of like suede material,
Oh, that's
and the
cool. Yeah,
top
the only
and
problem
the
I
top
have with this is
magnetized.
putting it together, and the middle part always
Yeah.
bends. It always
Yep.
creases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Game Genics is basically like that, but it has like a nice suede sort of like material inside.
Oh.
Like the one thing that I don't like about the cardboard box is I feel like I'm damaging the cards when they just slide on the cardboard.
Yeah,
You know?
I know
Yeah.
exactly what
So
you're talking.
so that's kind of why I started doing the penny sleeves with play sets in them because they're in a sleeve inside the BCW box.
Mm.
Um, so I got this and I'm really loving it. It fits a bunch of game boxes, deck boxes in it. And they're really expensive, but I think one's great just to like store the stuff you use all the time. Um, I like that the whole top comes off and then you can put it underneath it and magnetize it so it's not taking up all this space on your desk. Like when you have it out and you're working with your cards to either build a deck or things like that.
Mm.
Where the Dex one, it's got like the top that's attached.
Oh.
So when you open it, it's like hanging out on all this extra space that's taken up. Um, so I picked that up and it's nice. I like their stuff, but all their binders are on back order. I can get their 3-ring, like I want to buy their 3-ring binders. But they're 12-page 3-ring binders on back order and has been for like the past 5 months. I want to try that out. I put all my Legend of the Five Ring stuff in binders because all the sets are different sizes and you really want to crunch the numbers. That's the cheapest way to store your cards is put them in pages and put them in a 3-ring binder. Because then you can make the binder fit exactly, one or two sets in a game
Oh, yeah, you
versus
can have a ton of pages versus the
yeah,
the smaller ones are, yeah, it's not as many
yeah.
pages.
Where like with my decks binders, it's a set number of cards you can put in there,
Mm.
and I'll only put one set in. I won't put more than one set in one of the binders. So you have empty pages in the back.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly how that is.
So if you really want to crunch the numbers, the 3-ring binders are the way to go. But they don't zip, so that's kind of a deal breaker for a lot of people. But my Legend of the Five Ring cards, they're not worth a ton. But I can put all my sets in them. I love the art on those old cards, and so it looks cool to flip through the play sets on those pages in them, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, kind of a mix between the two.
It's really important stuff, and it sucks at first because when I first started buying binders, I thought, man, this is $30. I could buy a card instead of buying this binder to put cards
Yeah,
in. But it really is good long term. And if you, I really ultimately, when I get up there in age, I want to have like a bookshelf type thing, and it has sets of trading card games that I love, and just, and going up there and looking at the Flesh and Blood cards from like now. And I mean, in 20 years from now, it's going to be a really nice thing to look
right.
back on. But
Yeah,
there's something you showed me going into a separate topic.
yeah,
Um, you told me about the Black Knight from Monty Python. I actually looked
yes,
that up, man, and that was
yeah. The
hilarious.
alt art,
So what people,
isn't it
yeah,
amazing?
it is amazing. So for people who don't know what this is, so basically in Magic the Gathering, they made alt art versions of the Monty Python Black Knight, and in each card, I think there's 4 or 5 cards. In each
Four,
card,
four.
there's four, yeah. In each card, he's losing one more extra limb, and it's so smart because it tells a story with each
Yeah,
card, and
yep.
it's too funny. But I mean, moving that into Flesh and Blood, I really wonder if they're gonna do that in the future, where they're gonna release more of the lore, or definitely a sequence of events of, okay, these are the cards we printed so far, and this is a story that's going in place with all the cards. Have you thought about that? I thought about that. I wonder if like certain cards are a part of different things. Like, okay, here's the warring people, and here's the Savage Lands, and it's more of a movie storyboard, and all the cards like sync up in a certain way. Well, what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought about it, but I definitely think all of these images play into something
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise you're just making art for art, and that's silly. Um, but when you're talking about that, and we were talking about the alt art guy,
Hmm.
I think it's literally ALT Art on Facebook. I think is his page. Um, and I think he's in Europe. But if you want to get something commissioned, he does amazing work. But how cool would it be if Legend Story Studios came out with like a take cover, right? And they know there's three different ones. They did different art for each of them. So if you're playing all three, I mean it's not the same. Like a lot of items on the field per se, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It'd be kind of cool, like when it's in your binder, to have like a story within the three card playset that you have. You
Yeah,
know,
it's brilliant. And
which
at
would be
the end
pretty
of the
cool.
day, the company name is Legend Story Studios. It's not Legendary Game Studios. There's gonna
Right?
be
Yeah.
something in the future
It,
that's playing on that.
well, did you watch the New Zealand video, the interview that
Is
of James
this
White?
7 Days of Flesh and Blood with Chris Booley?
Maybe
I think
he was
so.
he was showing the reporter woman how to play in part of it
I
for
saw
most of it.
that one. That was a separate interview on some news channel. Yes.
Yeah, there's like 3 seconds maybe. There's like maybe everybody go find that video. There's 3 seconds tops in that video where there's a whiteboard in the background
I know what you're talking about.
and it has names in it and it's got all these strings connecting all the names and you can see this person dies and this happens.
Yeah,
Um
and Data Doll commissions Azalea to kill the
yeah,
Harvester, and you're like, "What
yeah,
the f is happening, man?
right.
Who's the Harvester?" And then it says
Yeah. You're
Ricky
like,
is going off doing his thing, and Dash is trying to find Ricky, and you're, What the heck is this?" And you're right, it's
yep.
only a 3 second clip, and
It's
then
like
it
three
like
seconds.
pans out, and then
I
it
love every second of it.
yeah, me too. And I even heard, I think it was through the Discord that the Snatch card.
Yeah.
I think that is Ricky, and I think also Optical Eye is Ricky. I don't know about that one. I know they said Snatches, but yeah, it does. It looks like a freaking storyboard, and it looks like everything is interworked and connected in that layout. But what's crazy is you're right. They had it in this. The way they did it was perfect. It was so subtle. They peppered it in. I almost wonder if
Yeah.
they said,
It
"Hey,
was like
can you do this for shits and giggles?" I don't know.
it was like this slow pan transition within like the interview,
Yeah,
you know, for like maybe 3 seconds.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, so I think that kind of goes back to your question on the art. And I think um, that 3 seconds really kind of just shows how they're planning everything out. And so yeah, I think 100%, all of these things are related. Um, which makes it interesting. Like Drawn to the Dark Dimension. I love the art on that card.
oh
Um,
yeah,
cool. If you don't know people listening, it's a Runeblade card. It's an action card. But like, what is it? What is that? I want
yeah.
to know. What
And
is this in
there's a
this
dark
world?
dimension?
Yeah, tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me
Is there a
more.
light dimension? I mean, we know now with the Monarch thing, there's a darkness and a light, and there's a whole battle. And there's a dark dimension? Maybe there's a light dimension.
Yeah,
You're right.
explain this dimension more to me. Are there multiple dimensions? Right?
Yeah.
Like these like multiple universes? Like, I mean, this is a rabbit hole that my brain goes down when I'm looking at these.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know?
And the people in the game now in Flesh and Blood in early 2021 and 2020, I feel that we have so many cookie crumbs all around, scattered around. We're trying to piece together the cookie, but in future years, all these are probably going to revealed. There's going to be a wiki of Flesh and Blood that's just going to explain it all. I'm thinking. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, I mean, like, it's not like the greatest card or most played card, but I love Three of a Kind.
yeah,
That's power, right? And I think right now it's not great, but I think that card could age very well.
me too.
But
And I
my question is I used to do Magic, and he's holding 3 cards. Is that a real game? Is this like
Oh,
Final?
that just
Is
blew
this like
my mind.
is this like Final Fantasy where they had like what was that game in Final Fantasy that they
I
played where you
totally
had like
forgot.
the 9 cards?
I know
You
exactly
you
what
know
you're
what I'm
talking
talking about,
about.
though, right?
Yep,
Yeah. Like, is this like a hint to a game within a game? Because
it
I'm
could
in.
be.
I want to play it. I want to play it. What is this game he's playing with 3 of a kind?
Screw this game. I want to play that game.
Because because let's go deep here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's add layers to this. In the photo, those are not 3 of a kind. Those are 3 different cards in his hand.
Oh, I didn't even
So
notice that.
so what's going on there?
What is? I mean, did he have cards up his sleeve or something? Or I have to
I
look
don't
at that
know.
card more. They're not the same card, but it's called three of a kind. And
All 3 of a kind, but
maybe
he's
all
not
those
holding.
cards have a certain kindness to them. Maybe they're like sheep, goat, and and pig. So it's all animals. Is it three of a kind of like whatever text was on it? Is it? I have to look at that later. But
It's a hand, I think it's like a hand and 2 people, or a hand, a person, and a monster or something.
hmm,
But I wanna know. If that's a game in a game, I wanna play it.
is that like three people in the realm of wraith and not in the dark or light dimension? Yeah, man. See, that's even more questions about that. And actually, man, have heard of of a kind being used really well. And
Tell me more.
AJ from Adventure Co Gaming, I talked to him recently,
Yeah.
and he has a YouTube channel. He's a really smart guy. He plays the game a lot, but what he does is apparently you have Fandale Spring Tunic in your arsenal, or no, you have a
Oh, it
Tome of Fandale in your arsenal,
yeah,
and then
yep.
you play three of a kind, and then you play that. So you draw up three, and then you draw two from the tome. So I think you have 6 or 7 cards in your hand. So you gain 6 or 7 health. It's insane, and then you
I
just
could
end your turn, or you
I could see that.
yeah.
I wish I could play this card in Wizard, because then it'd be your turn and I can just blast you with a bunch of 0 cost instants.
Oh yeah, but the
Like,
problem
I mean,
is you have to play the cards from Arsenal after that, which really
right, but
sucks.
if your deck is very heavy in instants, right? Like
Hmm.
Sigil of Solace, right? It's an instant. I can play it on your turn. So at the end of
Oh,
your
that's
turn,
true.
before my turn, I can pop all those cards off,
Oh yeah,
right? Can't
I
I?
I think yeah
So,
you
like, I
can.
can I can go big on my turn, and then I can, try to end it off of a go again and play 3 of a kind to fill my hand back up for your turn, right?
Yep,
So, I mean, there's that too. I haven't played Ranger, so
it's definitely power.
I'm just
It
throwing it out there. Um, I think it's good. Drawing 3 cards is very powerful. I don't care
extremely
what game you're playing.
powerful.
In most games, like, that's powerful.
Yeah,
So
especially
there's
in
gotta
Flesh and Blood. Even a one card advantage, that's an extra, you know, push through of damage. And even if you just use that card and then wait for next turn, you still have 6 cards in your hand. So you could just like take all the damage your opponent hits and then attack them with 6 cards on your next turn. I mean, 6 cards attacking, you can do a lot. You can do a lot of damage.
So, I mean, you have what? Scabskin Leathers, right? Where
Hmm.
you can roll your dice and get an extra action point.
Yep.
I haven't played a ton of games, but from what I've played using that versus Mask, um, I find the card draw is more powerful than the extra action point.
I would agree with that.
It,
Totally.
and maybe that's just because in Ninja I'm getting more go agains. Like, go again is like on everything, right? Where that's not necessarily the case when I'm using Scabskin Leathers, but I really think the card draw is more powerful. Um, Whether it's on the attack or on the back end versus getting that extra action point. Action points are
Extremely.
powerful. Timestamp potion or whatever. It's a good card. Um, but the card draw, it's
Well,
intense.
yeah, and that's why that card is so much money compared to the other legendaries, I think, because it's just card draw is amazing for one. But just the fact that when you're Katsu, you have 2 Kadachis, so you literally attack once, attack twice, and nobody's gonna block 1 damage at a time. It's not something that happens too much. And
Yeah.
then the third attack, then you can just attack and they have to defend that full value. If they don't, then you get a card draw. That is ridiculous. And if you pressure that every single turn, I mean, there's just it literally does give you momentum. It lives up
It's
to
a
its
tough
name.
yeah, it's a tough tempo to break and
Yeah.
then try to like regain control or get control back to then, reapply the pressure back onto them. It's hard to get that back once that really starts going. If they get a couple turns where that's happening, like good luck.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to be easy to come back from, because I mean you're talking 3 cards. That's a lot of extra card draw over yourself in
And
terms of
tempo
just
seems
options.
really important. So what I've
Yeah,
learned recently is going second, it might be more preferable, especially with warrior or any other like ninja decks that are just trying to hammer you, and just attack, attack, attack. Because the more you attack, the more they block with it, and you are pushing through damage, and that's what they want to do. So if you go first, you lose the tempo because you attack, everyone draws up, and then the second player gets to attack, and then that other person gets hit cards out of their hand, but they don't get to draw up after that. So that's
yeah.
something I'm learning. I was like, oh, I'm going first every time, but no,
My favorite thing is when someone goes first, and at the end of the turn, I'm just like, um, play 3 instants,
yeah, oh
because then
yeah,
you just draw back up. It's like, oh, thank you for my first turn, and then my first turn.
yep.
It's like you get 2 first turns.
Oh, with sigil, yeah, sigil's amazing for that.
I mean, sigil, or like if you're playing wizard and your opening hand just happens to be some instance where you can just drop them. It's so rewarding because it's almost like you're playing first twice,
Exactly, yeah.
which is huge. I mean,
It's big.
I would probably just with that, like you could really build your deck around that where I mean, there's some advantage there.
Yeah.
But I'm by no means have a ton of games under my belt, let alone understand the full intricacies, but I think there's something there. Um,
There for
you know,
sure
the
is. And no matter what, it's just like the lore, man. I'm exploring it too, and I'm trying to figure out different stuff about it. And another combo I learned though, so I'm getting the sense of it's good to have cards that are really good for going second, but also going good for if you go first. So I play Guardian, and there's this card Towering Titan, and
Tower Titan,
you pay 9 and you get like +8 on your next attack. That's amazing for going first because literally
right?
I went first once and it literally won me the game pretty much from turn 1 because I played that, and
You
then
just dominated.
yeah, well, and the next turn I played a towering titan into a crippling crush. And it's like, what do you do
How
against
are you
a
recovering from that?
20 attack into your face that you literally have to dump hand? And that basically won me the game. And it just gives you so much tempo on the first turn. So cards like
What's that?
that are hmm,
What's that generic? The generic defense reaction card that's like
unmovable.
it's like yeah, like 7, 6, and 5. Like throw one of those in every deck and just throw one into Arsenal and just wait for that big attack and just you know instead of using 2 or 3 cards in your hand to block, you can just pop that one and it's huge.
That's
When
extremely big card. I agree.
always play one, honestly, and just if you draw it, just drop it in Arsenal, and then if they come in with that huge attack, it can really help you swing that momentum back into your favor, because instead of dumping 2 cards and taking some damage, or 3 cards to prevent all of it, you can pop one and you still got a full hand, and then it's your turn, and then don't expect it.
Yeah.
Solid.
It's especially good against Dorinthia, I think, too, because you have to shut down her Dawnblade attacks. So if you pop that, then there's nothing
Yeah.
she can do. She can't. Oh, well, and especially if she uses an attack reaction and puts on, +3 to her Dawnblade and she's at 6, well, then you got, 7 block with 2
Right.
cards. Yeah. And that's what the fun part is, man. Just figuring out all those intricacies, and I learned a ton when I was playing in a tournament. I think 3 weeks ago. It was really cool to see the different matchups and how you have to play differently against different matchups, especially with Wizard. I try not to do anything crazy in dump hand. I always keep my 3 pitch cards and attack them with hammer as much as possible, and just keep the 3 pitch cards to do my
Yep.
what is it, block the arcane damage with the no rune. But yeah,
Right.
this game is awesome, man. And the
Yeah.
Session Blood
I,
guys say it. Have you listened to those guys? Session Blood is those two guys are so smart about the intricacies, and they talk so long about all the different metagame stuff. I don't know. Love to listen to them.
yeah, it's helpful. Even if you don't play yet, or it's hard to play, you can't play a lot of games. I love listening to those, or even just honestly watching matches. I do it all the time. So it's nice. Um, I'm actually going to be trying a singleton where you can only play one of each card, where basically everything's
Ooh,
legendary,
that's cool.
which I think is really going to it's going to be interesting, right?
You can only
Because
use one of each card. I'm sorry. How does this work?
yeah, so kind of like Commander and Magic, right? You have a 100 card deck. You can only use one of every card. Same
Hmm,
thing, same idea, but you
that's
can only
cool.
use one. So like you could use one of each color, but only one of each of those colors.
Mm,
So basically everything is legendary. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll really stretch. It'll make it a lot harder, right? Because you can't be like, oh, I got two more of those in my deck. You're like, oh, what's the other card that's similar to that can help me pull off the same thing I was planning on doing? You know,
yeah,
so it'll be interesting. It'll be fun.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of stuff with formats that they can do in the future, and it definitely seems like they're trying to focus on Blitz with Monarch. It seems.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they tease anything on that PVE thing.
Yeah, I personally think they'll wait until like 2022, but they could have it in Monarch. I mean, yeah, the more I think about it, I think they're going to push it out because they're just trying to focus on creating market share. But man, if they have it for Monarch, then this thing's going to go past the moon and just out of the solar system. I mean,
I mean, I was almost thinking they would have it for like a set that might be related to like Volcor or something,
that would be
or
cool.
or maybe even the pits, right? Like you're in a pit battle. So I'm thinking like gladiator times, movies, things like that, where they have like this crazy beast that like a gladiator would have to fight. You know, so if they had a set that was coming out that was kind of like that, you could slide it in pretty easy to introduce it as well. Maybe it'll be a cool like side event at like nationals. You know, a lot of events will do like side events, and maybe that's like a cool side event that anybody can play. And the whole goal is just see how much damage you can do before you die or run out of cards or something, and you get a prize.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's
Uh,
funny you say that because that's what they did in the New Zealand Nationals in 2019. They did like the beat the car PVE event, and basically you have to do so much damage in a certain amount of time with your hero, and then if
yep.
you did, then you got some sort of prize. I think the prize was a Voltaic Bolt Arcane Rising like a sneak preview card that hadn't been released yet. But yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
cool.
yeah, that's what I know. I heard from the some guy on Reddit, but yeah, it'll be really cool. I hope they have more of that side content in 2021. That'd be real because everyone's itching at it. I feel if they put it at an event, people are just gonna go just nuts at it.
It'd be fun. I love the heck out of Street Fighter. You know,
Yeah,
so like to hear that, I'm just like, oh my god, oh, I just want to try it. You want to try? Like you're like, yes, I want to go. Like
yeah,
I can do more damage than that. Come on. So I think that'd be fun. It's just something fun, like an extra like side perk of just enjoying the game.
yeah. And it's gonna get so many people who are just interested in more of chilling with people and being on the same team because a lot of people aren't very competitive. I feel there's a different type of player who likes to be cooperative, and I'm more of that. I don't really like to be too competitive. I like the co-op part of it more. I know there's a ton of people who would draw interest into the game just for that aspect, which would
I
be
mean,
really cool.
think of like all the tomfoolery you can do in pit fight, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
you could collude with someone where the two of you only attack the person to your left and say your right, right? So we just sandwich the people between us until now we're both next to each other. So then we can only be attacked from one side versus both sides.
yeah,
Because you can only attack the person to the right or left of you. So
yeah.
if you're colluding with someone one person away from you, you both just attack that one person until they're out, and then you can only be attacked from one side versus two sides.
Yeah. You sandwich one person at the time, and then you
Yeah,
sandwich the other person. Yeah.
yeah. So, that's just it just adds like those extra layers, which is fun. Or, you have the whole politicking while you're playing, which is, I really enjoy Settlers of Catan,
Mhm.
the board game, and that's basically the whole board game,
I've never
which is a lot of
played. It
fun.
sounds really cool. Is it like 4 to 6 players and it's all about
Yeah.
colluding and making what do you do with
I
it?
mean, dude, they have like hour-long YouTube videos of people just playing like national tournaments, championships, and they just do like turn breakdowns. I didn't realize it was that competitive. It's crazy. But there's a lot of trading. Like you need to trade assets so you can advance your your settlement.
Mhm.
Um, and so there's a lot of convincing or persuading. Trade with me, don't trade with that person. I have this, you need that. Let's make a deal. Um, and so I enjoy those aspects. So pit fight kind of pulls that into it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, pit fight is a whole different animal, and that's a good point where they made another format in Flesh and Blood that puts, like, a whole different perspective of how you win. It's not about making the best deck, it's how good are you at wheeling and dealing with the people around you and making them attack. Because I played it once with the Outcast Haven guys, and man, it was really tough. It was like, who's really my ally here? And they'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Bronson attacked that guy. He's attacked you the whole game. Oh, Bronson, I'm your real ally. I'm with you, and here's how it's gonna play out if you do this." And I'm just a little kid in the corner, like I don't know what parent to choose. I don't know
Wait,
who, mom or dad. Yeah.
were you playing like a young hero, or are you playing?
Yeah, I was playing young Bravo, and they were all playing different heroes. I chose to attack Dane, who was Benji, and get him out of the game, but that was a bad choice because then Blake Azalea just murked me like in 2 turns and just shot like 2 arrows with like 10 attack, a dominate, and I'm like, well, okay,
Jeez.
yeah, but
Just kidding. I'm
it was a
done.
lot of fun. But it's just interesting how that works. Is there, different people paint the scenario different ways, and everyone's trying to, one up. It's a lot of fun between a bunch of people. But yeah, but to the point is, it's totally different from Blitz and Constructed. It's an entirely different animal.
Well, I like it too because it still feels like it can be a pretty quick game
Mm.
as well. Like there's some other games that have similar formats like that, but I feel like they can just drag on for hours.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, and which is fine. That's just not my kind of cup of tea. You know, um, so I think that's another thing I find appealing to it. Like you can get in, get a game, um, chat with a bunch of your friends, versus a one-on-one. But I like to play like a bunch of games. So I feel like you can still get like a bunch of games in versus some of these other games out there that have like larger formats like that. They take a lot longer.
yeah.
And I just don't feel like I get a lot accomplished. you
Yeah,
know?
no, it's true. And I mean, it's just as you get up there in life, it's hard to put a lot of time. And even the younger people, it's hard to put so much time into a full game. And I feel that that's why Blitz is really, I feel like they're pushing more towards the Blitz format, especially with local game stores, because a classic constructed game can last like 50 minutes to an hour. So, I mean, when you're doing Swiss rounds, it's kind of hard to keep people for that long, and especially going into the finals. But if you do Blitz, that's a lot faster. You can get those games done. And it's essentially the
Yeah,
same thing. It's just you just chop off a third of your deck. I mean, there's
yeah,
differences, but
and it shaves like 15 minutes, I think, off of your total allotted time. But I
yeah.
mean, you can get a blitz game done in like 15, 18 minutes. Like
Yeah, if two
if
players know
you
what they're
you are
doing.
yeah, if you're pretty experienced, I mean, you can bust through those.
Yeah.
Uh, I am not that experienced, so I
Oh,
would
me
not be
too.
in that bucket.
I've
But
seen people.
I have seen it happen very frequently, and it's a real thing. And I kind of I like that aspect where you can do like, hey, here's like full on, and then here's like blitz, which is still just as challenging and mentally difficult, but just quicker,
Yep,
which is cool. So I like how you have that double aspect for the characters, which is neat.
totally. And I'd like to
All more
see a little
characters.
faster format. That'd be kind of cool. Blitz Plus.
So thinking of more characters, here's my prediction.
Yeah, I'd like for Monarch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a legendary weapon.
Ooh.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. What would it be? What kind
I
of
don't
weapon?
know. I it would great question. I don't know, like a hellfire sword that the angels carrying or I don't know, something.
That would be cool. Oh, yeah, you know those the two characters on the front of the Monarch
Yeah.
release, they were
One's
holding
like a
one was like a
spear.
scepter, yeah, spear, and then the other one was a some sort of sword. That would be
Yeah.
cool. That I could
Yep.
see as legendary weapons. I mean,
So why not
gosh,
a
how much but what
you have
class would you put
equipment.
those to though?
I don't know,
Everybody
but I
would
mean,
want to play that class. But it would be
just
really cool.
I mean, if you think about though, like some of the I would pick some common equipment over legendary equipment in some scenarios.
Mm,
So who's to say just because it's like legendary, it's going to be like the end all be all for, X class or whatever. Um, I mean, I it would be very rare that I would put a heart in my deck,
yeah.
you know? I mean, granted it's Fable, it's a little different, but I think that would be cool, a legendary weapon.
I think they'll do it. I
They
think
got
they'll
everything
definitely
else.
do it. Cause
There's
why
an extra
not? I
slot.
mean, there's legendary equipment that you put on your body. Why not a legendary sword or a legendary, mace or whatnot? And I could definitely see them having some type of lore background to a legendary type of equipment set or weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
was
be
thinking
nuts.
I
Mm.
was thinking maybe a reprint of Shiana, but they announced Unlimited essentially for CRU. So I'm like, well, maybe not anymore. Maybe it would be a new legendary hero or yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe
I think
maybe
they're just gonna be unlimited crew with Shiana. Because the thing is with that whole set is literally James just calls Carta Monday and says, "Hey, can you please print that set that you have on the PDF?" And they just print it, right? To put
right.
that and all these other cards and other sets, I feel would be so much hard work, and they might do that in the future. But as for now, they have so much print equity. They have that thing in their back pocket that whenever they want, they can just print that out, and then 3 months later
Yeah.
get a ton of cash back from that thing because everybody wants it. But I really like
Yeah,
their
exactly.
focus. I like how they're focusing on Monarch. They're saying, "Hey, this is the big thing. Crew we need to reprint, but let's just do that later. Let's do Monarch and focus on it because." And when you see the whole picture of it, man, it just looked beautiful. It looked so the artwork for the Monarch release. I mean, this whole angels and demons type thing, and I was thinking recently, and I've talked to a couple people. I think there's going to be some sort of flight mechanic, possibly. All those people seemed like they had wings, so maybe there's a type of thing where there's flying, so you fly for a turn, and you can't be attacked by physical weapons. You can only be attacked by ranged type of
It's
things.
almost like a dodge, right?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
that would be really big, and or maybe like a cavalry thing. I don't know for sure, but that was kind of my take. But who knows?
I mean, I don't think this is a thing, but I was contemplating like what about like an ally or something, right?
That would be cool. Well, the
Like,
necromancer would
oh,
do that, right?
yeah, like I banish a card and I make a zombie token that just absorbs 1 damage. Like you got to chop through the zombie to get to me or something.
I definitely think that would be in it. I mean,
Could be a thing.
yeah.
All I know is based on what I've played before, whatever it turns out to be, I can't imagine it's not anything less than awesome,
Oh, for
and I'm
sure.
excited for it. I think the artwork on Monarch is probably I really like Crucible, but I think Monarch is I think they topped Crucible with Monarch. The first 2 sets are nice, but they're kind of I don't know, I get like a more classic feel, you
Yeah.
know? Where I feel like Crucible really cool, like, melting, lava, whatever.
Hmm.
And then with Monarch, I think I don't know, I think they really amped it up. So I'm excited.
For real. It's really epic. And I'm really wondering, too, if there's going to be some sort of you have to pick the dark side or the light side. Maybe you're Dorinthia player, but you could either be a dark or a light type of class, and maybe that class of darkness or light, whichever one you ascribe to, gets you certain abilities. Maybe another thing I was thinking of is in Magic the Gathering, there's a lot of these flashback mechanic cards. So maybe you
Yeah.
can pitch something in your hand and you play a card from your graveyard. That would be really cool. But
Yep.
man, there's the sky's the limit, and very helpful. And even though we're worried with all the product stuff because it's a lot of growing pains because of the major success of the company, man, it's gonna be an awesome year.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah, it. I'm looking forward to it. I always enjoy like the update. Somebody posts like X number of days until Monarch. I always get a kick out of that.
Oh yeah, I think that's Tony AC Whammy. He does that on the Discord every day. I love it. It's cool. So is there anything else you want to say before we wrap things up?
No, it's I mean, I think we went a lot longer than we thought we were. It was great chatting. I always enjoy your videos. Watching them. You know, I'm glad that you're creating your content and you're along the ride like I am, but from a different perspective and aspect.
Mhm.
Um, it's great chatting. Hope we can do it again. And again, if anybody has questions on how to start something of their own, or they want to become a Patreon and get some good product and become part of the community, reach out. And let's just count down those days until Monarch. And I'm so excited for the spoiler season, so I'm looking
I
forward to it.
know. It's gonna be epic, man. And yeah, I appreciate the shout out, man. And I think you're doing amazing stuff. Honestly, I plug you a lot and I'm not getting affiliated at all. I notice something really good when I see it, that you're passionate about the game, you've been in it for a while, man, and you own a whole store around Flesh and Blood really, and getting the cards out to the players who need it. And man, you've just done so much stuff that really shows that you want people to have access to affordable trading cards, and not only that, be able to help them with other needs of card storage and what have you. And it's really cool seeing your store grow, man. And I really back you, and I'm glad that both of us, along with many other people in the Flesh and Blood community, are on that roller coaster, and we're strapping in and we're going up, ticking up, and this is gonna be an interesting ride, man. But appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
I got my seatbelt ready, and I'm excited to see everyone else that's out there creating content, playing the game, grow with it. So it's very exciting, and I'm glad that we're all part of it.
Yep. Long live Fab. All right.
That's right.
Thanks for
All right,
talking, Jason.
I'll talk to you, Bronson. Cheers.
Cheers.